If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the filthy capitalist option. As Sori says, $125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. $125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and you get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at vinsori@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is the community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go on the village, facebook.com/Vin and Sori. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sori and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch.
Buy our merch indeed. It y'all shall lead them.
So buy our merch.
Yes, dear listener. Yes, dear listener.
All right.
Dear listener.
So we have a stream going on with Negative Vibes in Middle Earth. Their Americana stream. Next up, is Sufjan Stevens.
It might be Sufjan, like Abu Sufjan.
Okay.
He's a bad guy, then he became a good guy.
So the name.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry. It's a good guy that became a bad. What?
It's okay. Go ahead.
No, I cut you off. I want to know what you said.
Abu Sufjan. He was a bad guy. He was fighting Muhammad. Then he became a good guy after.
Okay. All right. Okay. Jacksonville is the name of the song. Negative Vibes is our commenter here. You're already somewhat familiar with his music, but this is a much different side. Early in his career, he somewhat jokingly declared he would take on the 50 States Project, which meant one album for every state in the U.S. He didn't make it past the first 2, though. Michigan and Illinois. One of my favorites on the Illinois album, Sufjan has described Jacksonville as a song about a small town with a big heart. It's hard to come out of this song without feeling at least a little patriotic. All right.
All right, here we go.
We'll be the judge of that.
We shall be the judge. What's the name of the song?
Jacksonville.
I can't find it.
Oh no.
Oh, there it is. Sufjan Stevens, Jacksonville. Here we go, guys. Let's do it. Get some lyrics.
Wow.
the state backs in. I follow my heart and it leads me right to Jackson. She gave us a medal, she gave us a medal. If seeing is right, then look where you're at. I'm not afraid of Nichols Park. I ride the train and I ride it after dark. I'm not afraid to get it right. I turn around and I give it one more try. I said things that I meant to say. The bandstand chairs and the Dewey Day Parade. I go out to the golden age. The spirit is right and the spirit doesn't change. She gave us a mirror, she gave us a man. If seeing is right, then look where you're at. Andrew Jackson, all I'm asking, show us the wheel and give us the wine. Raise the banner, Jackson hammer. Everyone goes to the Capitol line. Color preacher, nice to meet you. The spirit is here and the spirit is fine. Education, that's the nation. You give us our sight and the hearing is fine. Andrew Jackson, all I'm asking, give us the wheel and give us the wine.
Wow.
That's Jacksonville, Illinois.
Yeah. What an interesting sounding song.
Yeah, what's his name? Steven said it. He said, interesting melody.
Yeah.
That melody...
I couldn't really wrap my head around it, but it was enjoyable still. Like it was
The melody reminded me of a...
summer day
no,
and
it
a
was,
very interesting dance mashed together in a night scene.
There's a lot of, like, memories that a lot of this music brings out. But the problem is I cannot place them.
Oh, wow. That's
So I have, like, this emotional feeling of, like, oh, I remember what that was like, but I can't, like, cognitively, like, place exactly.
And it's always
Yeah.
a good. I think it was like jazz. When I first heard jazz, I think that's one of the things that happened. Like Sesame Street would have a lot of this jazz playing in the background a little bit, and I had never heard that kind of music before. So it was just like associated with like my mom and finally being able to be with my mom and all that, and then I used to watch Sesame Street, and then like I forgot when we get to Elmo or whatever it was, that's when I'd have to go off to school, you know. And so like I think about that, like that feeling, like such a good feeling. But anyway, I'm not afraid of the black man running. He's got it right. He's got a better life coming. I don't care what the captain said. I fold it right at the top of my head. So apparently Jackson, Illinois was a place, a stop at the Underground Railroad.
Oh.
So he's saying, I'm not afraid of the black man running. He's got it right. He's got a better life, Kevin. I don't care what the captain said, because obviously that was against the law at the time. I definitely agree. I would love a jazz stream at some point. One of the main reasons I would love a jazz stream, to anybody listening, is that I don't know exactly what jazz is, how to define it, what it sounds like when you hear it, and why I like it, or liked it as a kid. All I know is like the drums are cool, and then it's something with the, like you're doing a lot of things at once, or people are talking about like how jazz breaks rules and all this stuff, like, which I would like to know, because like now I'm familiar with some of these rules, so I'm like, okay, how does jazz deviate from that anyway?
Yeah.
That's a jazz stream. I don't know if it'll come, but I was actually thinking about that last night. Okay, so O'Keller, she gave us a medal, she gave us a map. That would be a reference to Helen Keller.
Really?
Yeah.
Blind girl?
She was blind and deaf, but
Yeah.
I think they're talking about, because it's Illinois.
She gave us a medal. She gave us a map.
Well, there is
Like
a
she
Helen
put them
Keller.
on the map?
I think there is a Helen
Is that what it
Keller
means?
award. Isn't there a Helen Keller? I think gave us a map is talking about how to communicate to people in that circumstance. So she gave
Look,
us.
Middle's trying to put one of those together.
She gave us the map as to how to, because she was deaf and blind.
Yeah.
So how do you communicate with somebody like that?
Oh, God.
So she gave us that map is what she gave us.
You know what I wonder about her? Like, what?
Go ahead.
Like, when... the way I said it. Sounded so...
But blind girl, like this.
Well, I don't understand what it had to do with this song.
She's like Gandhi almost. Go ahead. Well, because she's from that area. They're talking about the places that.
Yeah, I didn't know where she was from.
That make them proud to be from that place or whatever. Like
So,
what their contribution was. Go ahead.
If you were born blind, but you could hear, then you would hear people talking about what it was to see. Oh my gosh, look at that!
Right.
Look at that! And then also the other way, like if you would see everything, you would see people enjoying something that you could not hear. But if you're deaf and you're blind, that's all you know. And it's not like somebody can communicate to you. I don't believe that somebody could communicate to you within that world enough where you would recognize what you were missing out on. You might have an understanding that there's something missing. I don't really know. But it seems like she was kind of, like, obviously the idea of being deaf and blind is like, oh my gosh, that's awful. But if that's all you've known from the beginning of your existence, then I'm not sure it would be as terrible as if you were just blind or if you were just deaf.
Well, I think to myself all the time now, like, there are probably other dimensions that our senses aren't picking up on.
Mm-hmm.
And if I was a being from that dimension, I would look at us with a lot of pity. Mm-hmm. Because that would mean that we have senses, that they have senses or experiences that we cannot in this current state. But we don't know, because we don't know what we're missing out on, so we don't feel like we're... So it's like, would she have felt any... discomfort or opprobrium, whatever the term is for being deaf and blind? Would she have felt that? You're saying it would be better to be deaf and blind than to be deaf or blind.
Right, from birth. You don't.
Okay,
you
so
neither
from
see
birth.
nor you hear. So
You'd
you
rather
don't
be
know.
deaf and blind versus deaf or blind.
No. Obviously, if you give me the option, because I know what it is to see and I know what it is to hear, then I'm going to say, no, only take one from me. But if you only knew an existence where you were deaf and blind, it would be like if all of a sudden you found out, hey, you know what, Vin, you're the only guy that can't fly. Everybody else can fly. You're like, really? Well, I mean, did you really miss that? Did you feel like, were there days where you're like, man, if I was flying right now, this would be easier? Just like, I was watching this thing with this girl in a wheelchair, and she was talking about, it was a weird, the kids are watching this corny show series, and like, there was like a person in a wheelchair, and then like this other person, but they were making the person that was trying to help the person in the wheelchair out to be like the bad guy, because she was being like overly helpful, and the lady in the wheelchair was like, why don't you help that girl getting out of her car? She's like, well, she doesn't need help, she's not in a wheelchair, but I think that there was like stuff that was being missed on both sides of it. But anyway, like the girl said, like how she was born like that and that she had to learn, stuff
but
was
our
more
entire
difficult
society
for her.
is structured around being able to see and hear. Like one thing, like everybody was flying, like that would suck. But I wouldn't really feel it.
How
as
would
much.
you know the society was structured for sight and hearing? Because all you know is your experience.
Because you keep tumbling into things and hurting yourself.
How do you know everybody else isn't doing that?
Well, it doesn't matter what you know about other people.
I think that's what makes misery more miserable, is when you're like, I'm friggin' the only one in this situation.
I don't think so. I mean, if you had a compound fracture, like if you fell down the stairs and had a compound fracture, and I had a compound fracture next to you, like that's not really gonna.
No, everybody's in the same situation.
What I'm saying is like the problem with being deaf and blind from birth.
Are you annoyed that you get hungry?
Yeah.
Everybody gets hungry though.
Yeah, but
if you were the only one, that would be worse.
I'm just waiting so I can go because you keep interrupting me. Well, go ahead. You look like you have a point. Well, my point is that I see what you're saying conceptually, but in the real world, I mean, she's crashing into shit. She's falling downstairs. Like, that hurts.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, you don't need anybody else to feel that, to know that tumbling down the stairs for the 10th time that day sucks. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's not like you're like, well, I'm the only person falling down these stairs. Like, I don't think she's thinking that. I'm thinking she's thinking, this hurts, and this keeps happening to me, and I have no way of figuring out when the next random thing is going to hurt me. Like, if I can't fly, that's okay. I can sit in my house and watch TV or whatever. Like, there's no physical pain, or my life is not in danger because I can't fly.
Mm-hmm.
So if we had a society structured like in midair, for example, and like one step off and you die if you can't fly, then yeah, I would have a problem with it. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But like because society would be structured around the assumption that we could fly. So that's my thing. It's like, I get what you're saying, but damn, like to not be able to see or hear. So if you were hungry and you couldn't get food, you don't even know if anybody's coming to get you. Like, or to even respond to you.
That's why she just
like,
grabbing everybody's plate.
The kids know, like when the kids cry, they get quieter as they hear us coming toward the room. Or if they hear us toward the room and they want our attention. So that there's all these little things that you have with hearing and vision that if you don't have it, would to me be a horrible way to live. Like, yeah, but regardless of being able, because I don't believe that people's suffering is in comparing themselves to other people.
I think that
because I don't compare myself to other people.
I was standing in the shower. Literally, the shower goes completely nothing, not even a friggin' drip of water. And what made me so angry about that situation is that there's bunches of people in America that are not in that situation. That should not be happening.
Yeah, that's you though. Like, you compare yourself to other people when you're talking about suffering, but there's millions of people that don't.
Oh, I think that makes it worse. Knowing that other people, if everybody's experiencing it, it's like, well, we're all in this situation. What are we gonna do?
Well, there's lots of people that don't even, like, I don't care about other people's experiences relative to my bad experiences. You know what I'm saying? And then there's other experiences where I'm like, I want to be the only one that has had that experience. You know what I'm saying? So, I don't know. But shout out to Helen Keller. Shout out to her. But I think ultimately it's also about like the triumph of. I go back and forth on this, like America's an empire, and most of the time when we talk about empire, it's negative. But on the other hand, it's like, what are those qualities that go into a given country or a given nation that makes the predictor like that country's going to be an empire, that country is going to, lead in technology and war and all this, like. So there's something about America that is special. People talk about like American exceptionalism, and I feel like they swing too far the other way to be like, no, we're just like everybody else. Like, well, no, we're not. We're at the top of the pile. So if you say that's just a random accident from history, fine. Like, I'll go ahead. But if there's something about being American that creates that kind of result, that's something that's interesting. So that's one of the things that I'm as I'm looking at the lyrics of the song, he's talking about Helen Keller. I think that's a massive accomplishment that happened in this country. You know what I'm saying? The Underground Railroad too. That was like, there's a lot of things there's a lot of things about America where I'm like, okay, there's something in our atmosphere that does promote a certain kind of mentality. Mm-hmm. And I've seen it like with other folks who are at the top of their game in other countries who, are the best of the best in the other countries. The mindset is different. It's like there's subtle differences, but the mindset is different. It's like even among elites in certain categories of the thing where I go, that guy's elite. Like, there's still a different I'm not, obviously as an American, you're gonna obviously want to say, yeah, there's something unique about my country, but I don't know. Interesting song. What did you give it?
It was a very interesting song. Just what they did with it musically, I couldn't understand it, but it felt like simple. It also had a whimsical sort of childlikeness to it, but at the same time, it felt a little bit more complex than that. I don't know. I'm gonna give this one a 9.2.
Victor Jara's hand is next, dear listener. Commercial break. I'm going to give this one an 8.9. 8.9 out of 10, dear listener. 8.9 out of 10. We got more music on the way. More classical music on the way. Let's check it out, dear listener. Vin out.
Sori out.
Go.